Hello there, this is Jeff Hansen from jeffjo.com, and today I'll be showing you how to get started using MonoTouch, which is basically the best thing to happen to iOS since iOS. So without further ado, let's just get started. Start a new solution. Go to C#, MonoTouch, and select iPhone. And for this tutorial I'm going to pick an empty project because I'm going to show you exactly how the view controller setup works, and these other projects already have them defined, so I think it will be better just to start with the bare minimum. So I want to save to my desktop, and I'm going to call it Hello World. Alright, so what you see here is the app delegate. The app delegate is responsible for processing events that iOS is sending to your application, as well as launching your application's UI. In the finished launching method, you have to instantiate a view controller and set it as the Windows root view controller. And the view controller is basically the view itself, and the view is the UI, and the controller is, well, yeah, the controller of whatever happens in the UI. That is, when a touch on a button happens, a drag, or, well, anything. So we can't really instantiate a view controller yet because we don't have any. So let's start by adding a new view controller. Go to add new file and select the iPhone view controller and call it main view controller. Alright, there we go. So what we got here, MonoDevelop has nicely generated our bare bones setup here for the main view controller. We got a few events here that we can mess with. So we also have a main view controller.zip, and that is the interface builder, well, the interface builder design file. So if you double click that, we will get the interface builder starting up. Or, well, actually it's Xcode, but Xcode has the interface builder built in. Alright, so waiting for the editor to load. Okay, so we got our view here. Let's just exit Xcode because we can't really show the view before we've instantiated our view controller, and we're going to do that right here. So let's create the view controller. Basic C# stuff. Now we need to assign this view controller to the Windows root view controller. Done. So let's just try and run this. Alright. And what do we got? We got absolutely nothing. Just a plain white view like you saw in the interface builder. Let's change that. So let's go back to interface builder, open our main view controller zip file. As you see here, we got our view. So let's start by adding a label. I'll place it right there. Going to stretch it out like that. Center the text. Change the label to something like click a button. So we need a button to click, obviously. Drag it in there. Make it look good. Change the text to show the date. So now what we need to do is hook up the click event on this button. And if this was a WinForms application, all you'd have to do was double click on the button, the code will be generated, and you could start coding right away. Well, because this is Apple, it's not that simple. I'm actually convinced that Apple hates their developers. Anyways, so what you have to do is you have to go to the assistant editor. So what you got here is the main view controller's header file. This is where we define our outlets and actions, and an outlet is what a property name or I'm sorry, a component name is in the WinForms world. So that's how we access the control at runtime, or I'm sorry, in code. So first we're going to need a reference to our button. So control drag, that is hold down the control key and drag it over here. The connection is set to outlet, and let's give it a name like label info. There we go. We also need a reference for our button. Control drag it, button date. So now you have to save this main view controller, and you also have to save this main view controller zip file. Done. So let's quit out of Xcode, Command Q. And back in MonoTouch, let's check the designer file. And yeah, we got our label and we got our button. So in order to hook up a click event for this button, this can be done in multiple ways, but for this first button I'll show you the first way, and that is just in the view did load event. Make a little space for that. Button date touch up inside. That is the equivalent of the button click event in WinForms. So let's add an event handler for that. We want to change the info labels text. So lvl info.text equals string format. The date is. We need format argument date time now to string. We want it in the format as the long month name, short date, long year. There we go. Save this and let's run it. We got our UI here with a label and a button, and this is what happens when we click it. That's pretty simple. Now we're also going to want a button for showing the time. So let's open our UI again. So let's go ahead and add another button. Change the text, show the time, go to the assistant editor, drag it over here, call it, oh, I'm sorry, now change the connection to action. Now this is going to let us define the event for this button's click event without having a reference to the button, because it's not really necessary, because we won't be needing to reference a button in code anyway. So you know, Apple, they know how to build their UI tools, but the Objective-C language is just it's ancient. So anyways, so let's name this action, and I'm from the WinForms world, so I'm used to calling it on button time click. Nothing wrong with that. We want the touch up inside event, connect it, save the header file, and save the interface definition. Quit out of Xcode, and as you see here in the main view controller.designer file, we got our on button time click event, or action in Apple terms. So how are we going to add code to that? Well, like you saw here, it's a partial, so that means that we can declare it here. We can declare it here like what MonoTouch has done for us, and we can implement it here. So partial, oh, there it is. And we want to change the text of the label, string format, the time is, whoops, that should take care of that. So let's run it. And yeah, works perfectly. In the next tutorial, I'll be going over how to create multi-screened apps so you can navigate between them. And I'd really appreciate it if you leave a comment, tell me what I could do better, because this is my first real tutorial. So yeah, I hope it helped you, and I hope you'll join me for my next tutorials if I pull myself together and decide to do them. Anyways, take care. Bye.